Warning, the Renegade Recruiter is not for the soft, timid, or faint-hearted. If you need permission or seek approval from your mother, spouse, mates in the pub, or anyone else for that matter, this really isn't for you. If any of what you've heard puts you off in the slightest, I advise you not to listen any further. You've been warned. Prepare yourself for the no bullshit, zero fluff. Quick, dirty, and uncensored secrets for any serious recruitment, staffing, and search business owner who wants to earn more money with less work and fewer headaches, without having to kiss ass or bend over backwards to please anyone. He's a relentless and fearless renegade who will stop at nothing to reveal the harsh, unforgiving, and brutal truth about what it really takes to succeed in this business. He's a guy people love to hate and hate to love. It's your host, Terry Edwards. The Renegade Recruiter is unleashed.
Hello. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter, and welcome to this week's podcast, terryedwards.com Unleashed podcast. And today's podcast, we're joined not only... Today we are joined by Ryan Garratt, who's the founder of Staff Depot in Canada. Ryan, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate that.
No worries at all. Thanks, Terry.
Before we get going, Ryan, can you just tell us a bit about your background and what you do?
Yeah, we run a temporary staffing agency in the Greater Toronto area in a suburb called Mississauga, and offer staffing services for light industrial and clerical positions to many of the companies throughout the GTA here.
Excellent. And how long have you been doing that, Ryan?
Myself personally, I've been in the industry for about 10 years, but Staff Depot is 3 years old now and has been growing every year since we've opened.
Fantastic. Congratulations on that. So 3 years old and it's grown year on year every year.
Correct.
That's a hell of an achievement. Well done. And how did you get into the staffing and recruitment industry, Ryan?
Well, I had actually had some sales background previously through a couple of different positions, and was looking for a new position and applied to one online when job boards were just starting to become popular, and got set up as a cold caller for one of the other agencies in the area here, and just started working with them and found that it was a pretty good sales avenue. You get to do a little bit of customer service, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of business development, and just found that it was quite a passion for me.
Excellent. And you haven't looked back. It's funny, isn't it? I'm yet to meet a recruitment or staffing firm owner who sort of set out to enter this industry. Virtually everybody got in it by accident, and certainly applies to you.
Definitely.
But before we go, I want to find out a bit more about you. So before we go into a bit more detail about you and your business and so on, tell us something about you that not many people know about you.
A lot of people from the business community don't know that I volunteered coaching football and running youth organizations for quite an amount of time, which really was my full-time and a half job previous to owning a company. And we had approximately youth ranging anywhere from the age of 7 to 17, and we probably had about 350 registrations per year, and about 6 or 7 teams that I was responsible for.
Excellent. And just to clear things up, because I'm across the other side of the Atlantic, when you say football, do you mean soccer or do you mean American football? Just a clarification.
I mean American football, like the National Football League. Unfortunately, you can only kick the football a couple ways in the way that I coached.
Okay. So as far as we're concerned, that's not the real football, Ryan. That's nearly like real football, but not quite the real thing. But all joking apart, yeah, I get what you mean. Excellent. So you've been in recruitment for a number of years now, Ryan. What specifically do you like or love about recruitment in the staffing industry?
I always think it's a great ability to help people find their next position, whether it be a temporary short-term job or a direct hire with a company. As well as dealing with different companies on a day-to-day, so you're not necessarily doing the same thing every day. You're learning about logistics, you're learning about transportation, you're learning about truck drivers, or you're learning about forklift operators or welders. It makes a big difference that you have a little bit of variety in your life, and then having the challenge to find that right person for the right role.
Yeah, it's good points there. So the variation and having the ability to make a difference, to positive difference to people's lives. Excellent. And now you've been around for a while now, Ryan, and we all know that nothing's perfect. What would you change about the industry? If you could change anything, what are the sort of three main things that you would change if you could?
I think probably the biggest one in Canada and especially Ontario, where I'm located, is that it's not regulated properly. I mean, we do have an entity that looks over it and makes sure the people get their vacation pay and their regular pay and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people that take advantage of the system and don't pay people appropriately, which leads to the second point, which would be the saturation of the marketplace. There's people that are professionals at this and that are really good, and then there's somebody that has worked in a factory and thinks, hey, this is a great way to make a quick buck, which unfortunately gives our industry a little bit of a bad name as well.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I think, well, I'd also add to that, those bad coins, for want of a better word, they give everybody a bad name, don't they?
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Ryan, we've been working together now for about 6 months, and we've had a number of one-to-one sessions as well as group sessions. I really wanted, I would really appreciate if you could just share some of the marketing activity that you've taken on and the sort of results. So yeah, the first thing is what marketing activity have you taken on so far?
We've tried a variety of different avenues based on some of your suggestions and reading some of your books that you've published. Some of them have been some direct mail campaigns. One was with a postcard. A secondary one was with a letter personally addressed to the hiring managers. As well as we've done a lot of online campaigns with developing landing pages, advertising on Facebook and LinkedIn. And obviously a lot of LinkedIn activity as well about getting new connections and getting them off of LinkedIn and onto the phone and turning them into clients. So the biggest success that I think that I could say that we have found in terms of the activities that we've done has been through LinkedIn, whether it's through putting up the pay-per-click ads or the three-step process or the 10 before 10s. All of them have been successful in some format.
Wow, well done, well done. So, I mean, let's look at that in a bit more detail. So you said at the very beginning that I know will surprise a lot of people is the fact that you use direct mail. So good old-fashioned snail mail. And I can tell you now, Ryan, one of the reasons that's worked for you is that most of your competitors wouldn't even dream of sending out a letter or a postcard. So from your point of view, what sort of results did you get from the direct mail campaigns?
I think with the direct mail for our industry at least, it's got our name in front of people. It didn't necessarily turn them into customers, but it gave them another vision of our company and our brand, and that we were doing more than what other people were doing. So, for an example, we recently completed a request for proposal for a multinational company. And we had included them in all of our direct mail campaigns. And the only reason that we got included in this proposal was because they said, you're literally in front of us every week with a different avenue, whether it's an article that you've written on LinkedIn, whether it was the postcard that you sent or the letter that you sent us. And they didn't opt into any of our landing page or anything like that, but they included us in the request for proposal. And we're semi-finalists right now for $1 million account.
Wow! So that could, that's fantastic. And I mean, just on that, if you're an owner, a director of a recruitment or search firm, you're thinking, well, why does that work? Well, one of the reasons being is that the opening rates on emails is about 30%. So in other words, about 70% of any emails that you send out will never get opened for a number of reasons. I won't go into that now. But the opening rates on direct mail is 3 times that. So 3 times as many as your direct mail, hard copy direct mail will get opened as emails. That's one of the reasons why it's so effective. So well done, Ryan, on that. And the possibility there of getting a $1 million contract just on the strength of that. That's awesome. And tell us about some of the you talked earlier about landing pages. For those that don't know what a landing page is, just tell us what you did there, please, Ryan.
So we've got a couple different pieces of software for a landing page or a squeeze page, as it may be known, and essentially it's just to offer whether it's a free ebook or a free video series or just something of value to a prospective client. And what they do is they obviously enter their basic information, their phone number, their email, their first name, and possibly their company name. And from there, what we've done is we've trapped them into an email marketing campaign as well. So those landing pages have helped attract, I'd say, well over 100 leads in the last 6 months of people that we may never have even known about through a lead directory or by searching online. So it's been very effective.
Awesome. So about 100 leads over the last 6 months. And make a note of that there's no cold call in there as well. So that's fantastic. And just to explain, a lead page or a squeeze page, as it's sometimes called, is a one-page website, isn't it? Where let's step back. There are 4 main reasons why a client won't buy from you. They don't have a need, they don't know you, they don't like you, or don't trust you. And what Ryan's doing is offering a free report or a video series that will get the potential client to raise their hand and indicate they have a need. So an example, 7 questions to ask a staffing firm before you engage them. So you send out an email or a letter offering that. Now, what we know is most people, the majority, 95% of the people that you send that to, have no interest whatsoever. But you only need that 5% that go, actually, I'm interested in that free report. So that's how you generate your lead. Now, and how you generate that, you offer them the free report or the video series or whatever. And you say to them, look, just give us your details and we will send you this free report.
You're listening to the Renegade Recruiter Unleashed podcast. For show notes, additional resources, and podcast updates, head over to www.therenegaderecruiter.com.
So from Ryan's point of view, Ryan's literally generating leads while he sleeps, because he can do that while he's sleeping. And those people that have a need will raise their hand and indicate they have some interest. And then Ryan then indicated that he puts them into an email campaign. So once they've requested the video series or the report or whatever, Ryan will send a series of emails that are already loaded into a system. And what that does is it helps position Ryan as the expert, and it also nurtures the relationship with those decision makers. So that when Ryan calls them and says, "Hi, it's Ryan here," they don't go, "Ryan who?" They go, "Hiya, Ryan," because they know him because of the free ebook and the series of emails that's received. So what it means is, from Ryan's point of view, he never ever has to make a cold call to generate these. That's fantastic. So you talked there about direct mail, Ryan. You talked there about your landing pages. Just tell us some of the things you've done on Facebook, please, Ryan.
Yeah, so we've developed a company Facebook page where we advertise towards both candidates and prospective clients. So in order to gain traction with clients, they know that we have other clients that we're filling, looking for candidates for those difficult roles to fill. We've done a pay-per-click advertising campaign with both videos and images. And that's been quite successful as well. And when they click through that, we've done a call to action to have them download the reports and click through. And again, that cycles right back to a landing page as well. So Facebook has been quite successful with us. Obviously, Facebook is the #1 social media platform in the world. And it's been very successful with us getting traction.
Excellent. And for those that don't know, pay-per-click literally means that pay-per-click. So what Ryan's doing is puts ads on LinkedIn and Facebook pay-per-click. And what it means is that if a potential client clicks on your ad, then you have to pay LinkedIn or you have to pay Facebook or whichever platform that is. But here's the good news. If your potential client's got no interest and doesn't click on the ad, then you don't pay anything. Can you see the power of that? And again, this is another method of generating leads while you sleep. So Ryan can set these ads up and literally go to bed, and he can get people click on those ads at 12 o'clock at night or whenever. So that's what Ryan means by pay-per-click. And as you're listening to this now, if you're thinking, yeah, but my market's different. It's not. And the beauty of all the things that Ryan's sharing with you that he's doing is, and I always say this, look, don't take Ryan's opinion, but in fact, ignore Ryan, ignore me as well. Because the beauty of all these things is you can go and test them for yourself. Because you set up a pay-per-click campaign and nobody clicks on your ad, but it doesn't cost you anything. So if it doesn't work, well, so what? But what we know is that you'll generate leads of potential clients who have a need for what you do. And then they're the people that you'll be calling. That's excellent. And what about some of the free stuff that you've done, the free marketing? So you talked about direct mail. Look, there's a cost in there, and although we say it's a cost, it's an investment. So if you spend, I don't know, 500 of your local currency on a direct mail campaign, from your point of view, Ryan, I guess you only need to get one piece of business for that to more than cover its cost. Would that be about right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what Ryan's doing is he sees his client attraction or marketing as an investment. He's prepared to make an investment to get a return on that. And what we know is the more that Ryan... See, if you're competing directly with Ryan right now, if Ryan is prepared to invest more than you, Ryan will get more business with you. It really is as simple as that. And again, if you've got any doubts and you're thinking, well, I'm gonna recruit another consultant, well, good luck with that, because what Ryan's doing will cost you substantially more if you were to bring in a consultant. In fact, in most cases, it is more cost effective to use the kind of marketing campaigns that Ryan's using now than bringing in a new consultant. So I've flagged up some of the doubts and concerns that people listening to may have. From your point of view, Ryan, in fact, here's a good question. The first question is, what's been the monetary value to the marketing that you've done so far? What's that been worth to you?
I think, without crunching exactly hard numbers, we have spent probably close to $5,000 over the last 6 months on marketing ballpark. And just alone on direct hire orders, we've generated $20,000 in revenue.
Wow. So fourfold return so far. And yeah, that's awesome. And that's great news, but let's be blunt and honest about it. What reservations did you have initially when we talked about these things? What were the reservations or challenges that you had? Let's look at the challenges that you faced first of all in implementing these strategies.
I think it was good to read a book about it and get educated about it to start with. But the biggest challenge I think that I find personally, and I think that anybody might find, is implementing. So there's 101 different strategies that you can try, and then you get confused, and then it's a new piece of software, and then it's, well, what do I write in the letter, or how do I find the leads to send these letters to? So the biggest challenge that I had wasn't about spending the money or doing it. It was getting somebody to kind of walk you through what the process would be and how to kind of ignite that lead funnel fairly quickly with the proper content.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. And what about reservations? You know, when I share this stuff with you, you hear about this stuff, you read about it. What personal reservations did you have about implementing it, apart from the actual doing it and taking action? What other reservations did you have, Ryan?
Some of it is time consuming. If you are going to do the direct mail campaign in-house instead of outsourcing it, you've got to print the letters, you've got to stuff the envelopes, you've got to label them, so on and so forth. So it does take some time, and you don't know what the results are going to be. But unless you actually put the effort in and do it, then you're never going to know. So I always liked the idea that you talk about, Terry, is if you don't believe me, just try it and test it and see what your return on your investment is. And that's what we've done with each avenue of marketing. Is we've tried it for a bit, and if that area hasn't worked out very well, then we've tried something else, or we've retooled it, or got some criticism on it and said, hey, you know what, maybe you should have done this a little bit differently and try it again a different way and see if that works. And the trial and error was definitely the biggest reservation, but always obviously the best suggestion too, because it's been successful for us.
Excellent. Well done, Ryan. And look, there's people listening to this now, Ryan, who have never done this kind of thing before. So what would you say to anybody who's listening to this and is considering doing this themselves? What advice would you give them?
I would say you don't necessarily need to run into the deep end of the pool and jump 2 feet in. Go ahead and stick your toe in and make sure that the water's warm. And if you like the temperature of the water, then just go ahead and do it. I'll take a line out of your book, Terry, is that if I was going to give you $2,000 every month and then you're going to return $10,000 at the end of the month, why wouldn't you keep doing it? And that just makes good sense. And that's exactly what's been happening to us ongoing so far. So it's definitely the way to go. Excellent.
That's great news, Ryan. And look, Ryan, you've been around. You've met many mentors and people that have helped you out. And I know you work with a coach over in Canada. What's the best piece of advice you've been given from a mentor or somebody that you've learned from over the years?
The best piece of advice that I've ever been told is whether it's working or not, or you're having a tough day, it's that tomorrow's another day, and try it a different way, and just kind of keep your head down and keep working at it. And while you want to work hard, you also want to work smart. So I think another thing that really resonated with me through speaking to you, Terry, was applying leverage. So as you mentioned earlier during our conversation today, setting up automated programs to do your advertising and capture leads, and hopefully get warm leads into your funnel. I think definitely applying leverage was one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever heard. Excellent.
Thanks for that. And if you could give just one piece of advice to recruitment and search firms from around the world as to what in your opinion, are the essential rules for business success, what would that be from you, Ryan?
I think time management is huge. When I first started my business, I tried to do everything by myself and do everything in-house, and that's definitely not the right way to go. Obviously, you need to build a base to start with, but again, applying leverage and outsourcing anything that you possibly can. So if you can budget your time being worth, for argument's sake, at $100 an hour, but somebody else can do that more basic task at $15 an hour, then you should definitely outsource that type of activity so that you can focus on the bigger dollar amounts activities.
That's a great big piece of advice there. It's so true. I think it applies to all of us, not just recruitment search for managers. I'm as guilty that sometimes you can get bogged down in stuff that, quite frankly, you shouldn't be doing, and in my case, not very good at doing either. You'd be much better outsourcing to somebody else. That's a great piece of advice. Ryan, I really appreciate you sharing this with us. Look, people are listening to this, they're gonna want to reach out to you on LinkedIn or whatever. Would that be okay with you for people to connect with you on LinkedIn, Ryan?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you just spell your first name and your second name and where you're based, please, so people listening can connect with you on LinkedIn as an example?
Yep. So my first name is Ryan. It's spelled Ryan, and my second name is Garratt. It's Garratt, and I can be reached on LinkedIn or Facebook or a few other medias as well.
Great. And what's your company website?
It's staffdepot.ca, and again, we're based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Fantastic. That was absolutely brilliant, Ryan. I really appreciated you sharing that with us in the terryedwards.com Unleashed podcast. Brian, I want to say thank you very much indeed. As I say, it is greatly appreciated. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter. Until next time, take care, take action, and be relentless.